All right, how is everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning in to the Rich CELENZA Show. WTF are you talking about? So what I want to call this segment today is if you are too intimidated to get to a gym, then it's time to get to a gym. So in my program, Mastering Self-Confidence, I go through all these different things regarding how to build your confidence and kind of not just conquer your fears, because I think a lot of saying I'm going to conquer my fears is full of shit. Because I talk about this all the time, I'm kind of afraid of heights, so that doesn't mean I'm going to go jump out of an airplane, and then when I'm done, when I land, I'll be like, I conquered this, which is ridiculous because I probably have a nervous breakdown. But there are other ways to kind of learn how to deal with my fear of heights, let's just say. And regarding this gym saying that I just said, it's not just about the gym. It's kind of regarding many different things in your life, just in general, and really not being intimidated to do the things you want to do. And what I'm going to get into are some things that I went through in my life that I made some mistakes and other things that I learned from, which I don't know if they were good or bad. But let's just get into the gym situation for now. I'm just going to be using that as an example. Again, you could be using this for anything, but let's get to a gym. So let's just take a lot of people don't join a gym because they're intimidated or they're scared or there's all these like stereotypes connected to gyms. Now, I've been going to gyms since I was like 5 years old at a YMCA that I used to live near, and then I started hitting it basically pretty hardcore, never stopped since I was 12 years old. And one of the things that make me laugh about a lot of people I know that want to get in shape or work out is they have all these issues on why they can't go to a gym. They come up with the excuse, oh, it's dirty. It's just a pickup place for guys to pick up women or women to pick up men, hookup place. What's the big one? Oh, everybody there is in shape, and I feel like a piece of shit when I get there. I look horrible. They're all looking at me, which I could assure you most people I know in the gym couldn't be nicer that I've ever gone. When I've ever gone, and I've gone to hundreds of gyms just in the last year, let alone, and I'm talking different gyms. I've never been treated unkindly. Actually, people couldn't be more helpful. Even when I've been in situations where I needed a spotter. The people there are on steroids. The trainers are all out to get your money, which I do a podcast, and I've done a video on this, not really letting yourself ever be taking advantage of a gym. Because the truth is the gym now is cheaper than it's ever been, I believe. And the gyms are better than they've ever been now as well. So if you're using the excuse they're too expensive, the average gym still costs about $1 a day if you're lucky. You may have to put down, it depends, 50 to 150. Maybe if you're in a city, it could be a lot more money. Your downstroke, and the gym fee may be more money. But for the most part, you could probably get into an LA Fitness, 24-Hour Fitness. Planet Fitness got really good deals. I don't even know, but from their commercials, I've never been a member. I've worked out in a couple. But most likely on an LA Fitness, not a signature, you're going to put down maybe $100 on the average, and it's $35 a week. 24-Hour Fitness, roughly the same. I'm a member there. I forgot. I think it's like $150 down, $34. If you join a signature, maybe $150 to $200 down, $40 a month. That's LA Fitness again. Lifetime Fitnesses are more. Those can range. I've never been a member there, but I've worked out there numerous times, so I don't want to give theirs because I never did that. Gold's Gym. There are still World Gyms. Palm Springs area, there's some World Gyms. Not a lot that I remember, but there are some Gold Gyms. They're all independent now, so you can't necessarily sign up for a Gold's Gym and then work out at any Gold's in the country. But back to, those are all excuses. There's so many more excuses. I can't, there's no parking. If I go to my local gym, I have no one to work out with. All these different things, you're just kind of coming up with excuses because the truth is you don't want to work out and you're lazy. Or you want to work out and I'm not sure if you've done this, but maybe a lot of times in your life, you've let things deterrent, is that the word? Maybe I screwed that word up, but like not allow you to do what you want to do. And I think I fell in this category. I'll tell you how I did that in a second. But if if you're afraid to use an excuse as a gym, we can use that same excuse for anything, right? You could say, hey, I want to go here, but I can't because the people, or I can't because of this, and this. It could be even going to find a new job. It could be going to a different school. It could be going to take night school. It could be trying to learn how to drive. Like if I go to driver school, they're assholes. I don't have the money, or they're not going to teach me. You're going to come up with every excuse in the world I'm just using. So, back to what I went through, I remember a couple things happened. I mean, one is when I was in like 8th grade, I have a very extroverted parents, and I was very introverted, but for some reason I could turn it on and off, and I did this like public speaking class, and I went there. And at the beginning, you had to learn how to just stand in front of the class. You pick a subject. All they wanted you to do was pick a subject and talk about it. I think one of the things I did, my uncles had tattoos. I thought it was unique. I drew some pictures of tattoos, went up and talked about it. And actually, the students were very nice to me. You know, they clapped for you. I was like, wow, this is awesome. But every week or every couple of weeks, you had to come up with a new subject. By the end, I was very bored. And then I got very shy, and I don't know what happened, but I went from being the person to always raise their hand to be up first, to just knock it out and get it out of the way, to being the person who literally couldn't get up there now. I don't know what the turn was. Something happened in my mind, I believe. Maybe someone said something to me. Maybe I just ran out of juice. I don't know. But it's funny because nothing changed. It was really my mind that really said something now here is wrong. My teacher couldn't have been nicer. The students even afterward, one student even did something based on the way I dressed. Like he's like, CELENZA, I like this and this, and he brought me up there, and I was like, wow, I like this. And I think about that all the time because I may start doing some more public speaking. And when I do, I've done some stuff with film and all these different things where I've done panels and seminars. And it's quite interesting because I love helping people. So let me get a drink of water here. So the next one was a big one that kind of changed my life to a certain degree. Back in 1993, I was kind of exhausted working with my father in the vending business. At 18, well, basically at 15, I started with him, but I moved to Florida officially at 18. And this was like 1993. And the reason I remember that's 1992, I'm sorry. The movie Fugitive came out in 93. Why I'm going to put these two together, I'll tell you. So, in like 1992, that summer, I just said, I'm going to spend the summer with my friends. Back in Chicago, I missed them. Even though I had friends here that I was hanging out from Brooklyn and Florida. A lot of my friends were, still in college. A lot of them were getting ready to go to DePaul. Other ones were a lot of my other friends were just starting to gamble, which I liked as well. We were in Melrose Park, all these places. Gambling boats started to get more and more popular in Illinois. We started to hang out at those more. And I was in Florida, so I couldn't do really a lot of those things. So I was wanting to see them because I'd come in 3-4 times a year. So my buddy said, hey, I got some work here for you. We're doing the Hilton downtown Chicago, which my buddy actually, Brian's the GM there. What are the odds now? But he says they have a job where he has to go in and program all these new TVs that are being put in there. This is right at the phase where they started to add movies into the hotels. I know this is going to sound outdated, but the TVs were big, but they weren't flat screens. They were just huge. So he said, I need somebody, because he knew all I did was kind of lift weights. I was like 35, 40 pounds. And he said, I need somebody all day and night just to lift and move televisions. And I'll pay you a decent hourly wage. And bring some of your friends in, too. And we kind of all knew each other, but I brought in some of my buddies from the gym, and some of my close friends ended up coming, too. And like a whole team of us came in, and it was summer again. So a lot of kids that weren't in, like getting ready for school or getting out of school, some did summer school, but they were available. It was an unbelievable, few months I spent there. And when literally all they did is they'd bring in trucks of TVs. I had to unload them, and then I had to bring them to a storage area. And then depending on what floor they were working on that day, then I would bring up all the TVs, do that section, unload them all, have to go in the room, take them out of the boxes, then take the new ones in the room, put those in the box, take the new ones, put them on the counter, and leave. That's all I did all day. And this is a monster hotel. I mean, I was moving televisions hundreds of times a day. My joints were kind of like, I felt it, but then I'd go work out heavy afterwards. It was crazy. But I remember someone told me Columbia College was downtown, and they had you could take a course there in making films, because my friends knew that I always wanted to make a film. I didn't even know about film schools in high school. I'm dating myself, back in the late 80s. Maybe they talked about it. I just didn't know about it. I went to a college prep school, so my dream was really to maybe make movies, but I didn't know there were film schools out there. I was just that unknowledgeable. But they said they have a department in there, on how to make films, and there's all these different screenwriting things, and I'm just saying, like, back then I could be more technical now, but my friends were telling me this. It's right down the street. And I said, you got to be kidding me. So I'm like, maybe I should go to, do that. Maybe I should go to college, go to school to make films. That would be like a dream of mine. And to make a long story short, at the between lunch, we'd all go to this one sub place or Italian place, all these places. And I said, it was literally, if you know Chicago, Columbia is right near the Hilton. It is right south. They're kind of, right off 290. They're very close, walking distance. So I went there. And I remember walking up, I had a full leather coat on. Or did I have a leather coat on? I think it was right at the end of the job. So it was starting to get cold. In Chicago, as you know, it gets cold. So we did this summer, and then we were wrapping up. I was there 3-4 months at least. And then I actually went from there and went and did the one at Hilton O'Hare. But it was starting to get cold, so I had a leather coat on. I had my hair slicked back, whatever. I looked like a typical greaseball. I remember walking up to Columbia University, and I think it was like an enrollment day or something. Might have been like September. And there were tons of kids, tons. Different color hair, I remember back then, dressed all funky. And I remember stepping up there. And I usually am a balls to the wall guy. It's really hard to intimidate me. Just I think from the environment I was raised in, going in nightclubs, bars, nothing really paralyzes me, I call it. Like I could walk into anything. Maybe if there's a war or something going on, but nothing's going to really intimidate me usually. I remember just immediately stopping in my tracks and almost sweating. And saying, what the fuck? Like, who the fuck are these people? And I'm looking at them, and they're looking at me, a bunch of them. And they were just somewhere some are just goofing around with each other. And you got to remember, this is before the cell phone era, any of these things. So you're literally, when you sat out front or to whatever, you're talking to your friends. Get some water here. I'm looking at them, and I could have just literally walked through them, went in, got information in the office, found out about enrollment. It was the perfect time. But I immediately said, oh my God, these people aren't like me. They're going to think I'm stupid. Look at the way I'm dressed. Look at them. They're very artistic. I presume they're geniuses. They must make films. They must, be actors. I had no idea what was going on at Columbia. I literally spun around, took off. I've never been scared of anything really in my life that I remember. I mean, I've gotten in fights where I know I was going to get my ass kicked or all these different things. Even when I went to different high school and all my friends and all these things, I just went and did it. I didn't get caught up in the rest. So I walked out of there. My friends are like, what happened? I'm like, what am I going to do over there? There's a bunch of these type of people. There's this. And I'm not, how much money is it? I came up with every freaking excuse not to go do what I really wanted to do in my life, which was make films at that point in time. So to make a long story short, let's fast forward now to 10 years later. So I ended up in the late, what year was it? 99, late, 1999, 90. I went on to make my own film. Without ever going to film school or any of these things. Again, balls to the wall. I'm like, I could do whatever I want to do. Even though I never made a film, I have a screenplay that I wrote. I want to write it, direct it, produce it. I ended up having to be in it like a crazy man. And I ended up going back to that university for somebody I knew made a film in Chicago. And they said, hey, Rich, would you come by? I'm going to be speaking at Columbia. And I said, of course. Now I go back there. I really don't look much different. I'm actually about 250 pounds. I think not much usually changes with me a lot of times. A lot of people say, Rich, you've kind of done the same things that you did in high school. I like to go to malls. I like to go to Italian restaurants. I go to the gym. It's pretty. I live actually almost in the same place that I lived at Florida for like the last 30 years, even though I travel a ton. But I went there and I sat down and he started talking. There were actually a few other filmmakers that made movies. Actually, I think it was she's the head of actor in SAG. She asked me to come because she knew I made a film and I was getting ready to do another film. And to my, I was kind of shocked. They brought me on the stage. They're like, oh, Rich CELENZA's here. Come on up. And all these students, you got a couple hundred students. It was a whole auditorium of people. And I was thinking to myself, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I was too intimidated to even walk in this place. Now I'm speaking at this place. Not only that, all these students there couldn't have been more wonderful, asking me questions that I wish I would have asked. Just not intimidated the way I was intimidated. And just... I went through that when I made my video game as well. I went to a university, it's called Full Sail, and I pitched it, and they made a video game based on my film in 2003, because I want to do a video game based on it. This is before anybody was really doing it. And after that, what I went through at Columbia, I went the other way with it and said, I love students. I love anybody willing to learn the craft of what they're doing. It's like a camaraderie. It made me feel youthful. I hang out. I still hang out with now another young kid from Full Sail that helps me, my producer. But back to intimidation. I don't know what I was afraid of. I guess I was afraid of me not fitting in. And the truth was, I didn't have to fit in with anybody or a group of people. Because if you look at it from an artist perspective, the whole thing is about you being unique. And then if people want to work with you or not, the same like a gym. I'm just using it as an example. You don't have to fit in with everyone in the gym. And the truth is, most people are really not in that great a shape you'd think they are in a gym. When you think of a gym, you think everybody's running on a treadmill, 100 miles per hour, bodybuilders in there, power lifters, or all these things. It's not true. Half the people in there are just going through the motions. There's all different ages. You have people in there that are 14, all the way up, well, it depends on the age. It could be 16 or 18, but it could go all the way up to 80, 90 years old. It's unbelievable. There's different classes that you can take. Like you could take yoga in, like, say, 24-hour fitness, or you could do a bicycle class. A lot of people you see on treadmills, they're just walking. You see people on the elliptical, they're not killing themselves. A lot of people, if you look in a gym, aren't sweating profusively. And I talk about that all the time, that when you go to a gym, it's what you put in, the intensity that you bring. Most people, unless they're training for something like whatever it could be, I'm not going to start listing it all, those guys are kicking in the ass. But a lot of times a gym is a place to go to feel healthy. You just kind of get some stretching in. You do some lifting of weights. You use some equipment. Take, maybe a nice swim or a jacuzzi or a sauna. And you leave and you feel good about yourself. Really, it's more, I think, about that. Because most people in the gym, I'm going to tell you right now, they are not in the greatest of shape. I don't mean to diss them. They're in decent shape. But from somebody who's out of shape, you may think they're in amazing shape, but you could get into their shape relatively pretty quickly if you just maybe changed your eating habits a little bit, maybe not even doing that, but just hitting the gym 3-4 times a week. You'd be shocked at the results you'd get. And again, I don't know anybody at a gym who is going to, maybe young people, but look at you funny, make fun of you. Again, I think that's a lot of people, their mindset. And I'm going to tell you something about people, and I used to tell my daughters this. That is, the way you address people, the way you walk into a room, I'll just use a gym for an example. It could have been even me going into Columbia University. A lot of times you're the asshole because you're walking in expecting everybody to gravitate towards you or open up and be all friendly. When you kind of walk in with an attitude, two different things, like you look fearful and scared. Well, if anybody walks into a room and looks fearful and scared, some people may open up and say, hey, what's wrong? Are you all right or whatever? But other people may be like, what are they thinking about me? Why are they scared? Why are they intimidated? Do they have something to hide? Why are they here? What are they going to do while they're here? You send off that signal. Or you walk in and you're kind of an asshole. You're kind of like just looking left and right, not really paying attention, even though deep down inside you want to be friendly. And I understand not everybody's very outgoing, but there's a way to kind of feel and address certain things that will make everybody comfortable. But if you walk into a gym or any environment kind of, already with the mindset that this place sucks, this place is a ripoff, what are all these people looking at me? Who are these people? What do they think? They're in better shape than me? They think they're, you know what I mean? All these things, you are sending that signal out. So you really got to think about how is your, I call it behavior, towards others regarding anything you're doing. I just use the gym for an example. That could be at work, starting a new job or anything. Really take a look and say, am I the problem here? Because I don't know if you see my podcast, sometimes I'm like, you may be the problem. A lot of times everybody wants to say everybody else is the problem, or a gym's the problem, or a university, or my job's the problem. Sometimes you got to step back and say, I'm having all these problems all these years, year after year, here and there. I'm the fucking problem. My personality kind of sucks. Or my attitude sucks. The way I think about things really sucks, right? Especially when it comes to your health. Back to the gym, you really need to start taking care of yourself. And you have more opportunities now more than ever, and you don't even have to use a gym. It could be joining a club, a runner's club. You could do that actually even free through like Lululemon, hypothetically. You could join a walking club, probably locally. You could even do something with your pets where people all meet together and walk pets. There's a lot of things you can do. But if you're going to keep coming up with excuses why you can't do them, especially from a physical standpoint. Now, if you have physical disabilities, that's different. I'm not talking about you. You have to go through whatever you have to go through rehabilitation-wise. But I'm talking about a lot of average people out there, or not, people that always come up again with excuses to not do what they want to do. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I think that's really all I had to do on that subject. Yeah. And don't think, a lot of times it's kind of funny. I heard that on television the other day, that a gym is a cult. Like, they're cults, man. You go in there and they're extremists, and then they want to prep you on me, and then I got to sign up. I got to, when you first go there, they make you do, you get a free 1 hour with a trainer, a half an hour, and then they want me to sign up for a program, and if I don't do that, I won't get in the shape I want. I need someone to kick it, in gear for me, or I'll quit, and all these things. You don't need to do any of those things if you don't want to. You don't need to spend any more money than you have to. If you have a certain budget, most of the time, even a gym will work with you. I promise you, if you're just honest and genuine, kind of like a dentist or other people as well. A lot of people working in a gym are just as broke as you, or if you have money, or they don't make a lot of money. Most of them are probably a little above minimum wage. They work on sales. You see the guys in the gym, some are on the phone, some are just walking around. Now, the trainers may make a little more money, but not as much money as you think. So they are there to sell you. All you have to learn to do is say no. I tell everyone, a trainer too, their job is to teach you not to have them anymore in their life, because they're training. And you can learn relatively quickly, if you do get a trainer, to do a lot of different things in a gym and then be creative and do your own thing. But if you're really going for a certain sport, bodybuilding or anything, I'm just using for an example, or a triathlete, if you want to do a marathon or whatever, a lot of times you don't need them. It's great if you want to have a coach too, or a trainer. I'm not saying that, but if you can't afford one, don't think that you're going to a gym and they're like, okay, we'd like to sign you up for this class, or you have to do this. It could even be, something like Orange Theory. I know they have a new thing where they monitor you and all these different things. And I know a lot of women like to join Orange Theory, but they can't afford it. I hear about it all the time. I don't know a lot of men that join there, nothing against them. But again, if you can't afford it, you may want to find something else until you can afford it. That doesn't mean you can't work out any longer. Does that make sense? And a lot of times, working out wise, if you can't afford, say, a yoga independent place, that may cost every time you go X amount of dollars, $30 a visit or $100 a month or whatever. Back to my 24-hour fitness, they have yoga classes throughout the week that are incorporated with your fee. So you have gyms that kind of give you everything. It may not be as consistent, saying, okay, there's yoga every single day, or there's Pilates. You may not even get Pilates. That's a specialty type thing, more or less, because of the equipment. But again, if you only get wrapped up and say, I want to do Pilates, and you don't do Pilates, but you let yourself kind of fall apart, don't do that to yourself. There's other things you could do. And usually a lot of times you may find something you love. Again, that doesn't mean you have to do it at a gym. You could join a volleyball club. You can go do a lot of things that you probably enjoyed when you were younger. Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing when you're working out, most likely you're going to quit. I talk about that all the time in my podcast. You've got to love what you're doing. I don't care if it's hiking. I don't care if it's surfing. I don't care if it's swimming. The way you're going to really be consistent is really working out or doing things you love. That goes for anything in life in general. If you hate doing certain things and you keep forcing yourself to do them, I don't even think that's healthy. Now, if you just hate working out, right, but you want to get in better shape, I tell people just walk. I'm not kidding. Walk. If you see stairs, walk. Just try to walk. Walk around your neighborhood. Just get some type of blood flow. And if you hate walking, it's funny, one of my daughters hates sweating. I said, you're going to have but she's a very hard worker. She loves doing college and she loves working hard, but she doesn't like the gym. She's a member, but she just doesn't like sweating. It's hilarious. My other daughter's obsessed with fitness. So it's kind of funny how that works out. But like I tell her, walk. You have to do something to help, keep your body in shape. All right. If you get a chance, check out my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get some subscribers there. It's Rich CELENZA. It's basically a mastering self-confidence. I post a lot of different things up there to help men find a woman or women of their dreams. I also post a lot of things regarding where I travel all over the United States, North America in general, I should say. Italy coming soon. It's got all my favorite restaurants, coffee houses, gyms. I also put up videos on, what else do I put up videos on there? Yeah, just a lot of my favorite places throughout North America, because I travel so often. So I'll also show you all different states and cities. But yeah, definitely try to subscribe to that. I have, obviously, this podcast. And then we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram as well. All right? So yeah, if you go on any of those pages, please leave a comment. I'd love to correspond with you, dispute what I'm saying, call me an asshole, or say, hey, I agree or I not. Because I love other people's opinions. There may be a lot of things in here that you may be like, no, Rich, I think this worked better, or try this. This is what I went through, and I appreciate everybody's opinions, good or bad. You know what I mean? All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up there. Take care, and I wish you nothing but the best and safe travels.